If you ever owned a piece of property that has a septic tank on it, you know they're not cheap to maintain. Just getting somebody to come out and locate your manhole cover for your septic tank can be quite costly. You're talking about $125 to $250 just to locate and dig up the manhole cover. So I'm going to show you how to install a septic tank riser so the next time that you have a service call, you won't have to pay for that locate fee. After removing the manhole cover, what you want to do is measure the diameter of it. The reason you want to do this is because septic tank risers come in many different sizes. You can see here that mine is 20 inches wide. Now let's talk about what you're going to need to complete the project. First thing you're going to want to get is a 12-inch septic tank riser kit. I bought one for a 20-inch opening, but yours may vary depending on the size of your manhole cover. The next thing you're going to want to get is a really good polyurethane adhesive. You need to get something that's going to really lock down your riser onto the concrete. Make sure you get a 28 ounce with a 28 ounce caulk gun. The other thing you're going to need is a shovel to make sure you clean all that dirt away from that manhole cover. A wire brush that you can see I'm using to clean the concrete right now. A drill with a Phillips head bit to be able to put together the riser. And then finally, you may end up needing to get an additional 6-inch septic tank riser to go on top of the 12 inches, depending on how deep the dirt is above your manhole cover. After you gathered all your items, you removed all the dirt, and you exposed the concrete, the one thing that you want to do is make sure that you clean the concrete thoroughly. You're going to go over it again and again and again, and you can see that as I'm doing it here, I'm still getting a ton of dust. But you want to make sure that you get all of the dirt off of it and almost all of the dust off of it with that wire brush, so that whenever you apply that adhesive to the riser and to the concrete, you're going to get a really good bond. When it's time to put together the riser, you're going to be pleased with just how simple it is. The one thing I really appreciate that Tough Tight did was they did just that. They made it super simple to do. All you have to do is line up the channels that the screws go in on the top riser with the base. It's so simple, your grandmother can do it. Then we're going to take those 8 screws and we're going to carefully go around the riser and screw them into the base. The one thing you want to be careful about is to not torque them down real hard, because you could potentially end up stripping them out. Once you get done with this part, I recommend you go get some rags and maybe even end up getting some latex gloves, because you're now getting ready to end up putting on the adhesive. You surely don't want to get this on your skin, because when you do, it can be tough to get off if you don't quickly end up removing it. Now go ahead and set your riser upside down over the manhole cover. Grab your adhesive and grab your caulk gun, and let's get ready to start applying it. Now, I ended up getting a 28 ounce tube. Like I said, you could end up getting 2 10-ounce tubes, but you will end up needing to use every bit of it. I did choose to go with Loctite Premium for this project, but go ahead and pick your poison. There's a bunch of different kinds of adhesives out there, and all of them do a really good job, but this one here is my personal preference. You can see what I'm doing right now is I'm making a good, solid, thick ring and going around that base of your riser, and you're going to keep going around, around, and around. The key is to make sure that you really apply the adhesive generously around that ring until you almost can't see much more green of the riser base underneath the adhesive. The reason you apply the adhesive so thick is twofold. You want to make sure that you have a really good bond so that it adheres to the concrete. But the other thing you want to do is make sure that you create a really, really tight seal so that it also prevents any of the moisture or dirt from getting down into your septic tank. And now it's time to flip this thing over and make it stick. The one thing that you'll see that I have that I'm fumbling around with is a power cord. You may or may not have the power cord that you're having to deal with whenever you do flip it over. I do though, however, because I have a septic tank pump that goes directly under my manhole cover. So I have to carefully finagle it through and try not to get the adhesive on me, but oops, I sure did. No time to waste though. We want to make sure that we get that septic tank riser in place and then quickly apply pressure on it so that we can get it to start adhering to the concrete. So you can see as I'm pushing down, I'm getting a little bit on the inside of the ring that's starting to come through. And since I messed up and I didn't put any gloves on or had my paper towels like I told you all to do, I'm just going to go ahead and take that little bit that's scooped around, and I'm going to end up picking that up with my fingers because I thought that was such a great idea to do so, and then clean it off after the fact. Well, congratulations. You just did the hard part of installing a septic tank riser. There's a couple things I want to point out to you though, in case if I didn't already do so. Whenever you look at your dirt level, so the ground level where the grass is, if it is at the exact same height or higher than your riser, you need to make sure that you end up getting the 6-inch piece that goes on top of it. If not, you're going to go ahead and skip to the end and just finish up the project by putting in the safety ring, the safety lid, backfill all the dirt, and you're done. My septic tank, however, was a little bit greater than 12 inches below ground level, so I'm going to end up having to add the 6-inch riser, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. And guys, like I said earlier, Tough Tight did it right. It's super simple to install the 6-inch riser on top of the 12-inch piece. You're going to do it the exact same way that you installed the 12-inch piece onto the base with 8 screws. So all you need to make sure that you do is you line up that 6-inch riser with the screw holes and then go around and install those 8 screws so that you have a total of an 18-inch riser. And guys, as always, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so that you'll get notified as I continue to post content regularly. Now, as we're wrapping up this project and putting a bow on it, there's a couple things that I want to point out on the screen. On the left-hand side, you can see that I ran electrical through my riser so I can supply the electric to my pump. I'll end up posting another video that'll show you how to do that at a later date. More importantly is the yellow ring that I just put inside the riser. That safety ring is the last line of defense if a child was to get into your septic tank riser. That would prevent them from being able to fall down into the septic tank itself. It's held down with several different screws on either side of it. Finally, I'm putting the cap on. The cap also has a couple places where you can put screws in to make sure that it's permanently attached as well. So there's multiple different safety aspects to this riser that prevents children or anybody else from being able to get down into the septic tank. And that is it. We are finally done with another project at the park. And as always, I'm going to take all the equipment that I used in this project and list it in the comments below. Also, feel free to add any comments or ask any questions regarding the video. And thanks again for watching, guys. We'll see you all soon.